welcome to Fan for Racing Radio. We're glad to see everybody here. And joining me is Sal Sagala. I'm Fan for Racing Sharon, and we have a guest for our interview here today, and that is Kyle Keller. Sal, I'm going to have you go ahead and start the interview. So, Kyle, welcome to our show. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right. Yeah. Our guest tonight is Kyle Keller. He's racing for Jan's Towing / Jan's race team. This is a second year for Jan in the ARCA Menards West Series. So last year he ran one car. This year he's running two cars, one with Kyle and one with Robbie Canilli. Their first race out at Kern, it was a very exciting race, very exciting finish. A very good start for Jan's Racing / Towing or Towing / Racing. We'll just call it Jan's Racing for tonight. And Kyle really made it a good show. Gosh, it was a nail biter there at the end. So at that, we just want to welcome Kyle to the show. A little introduction, and I guess we'll get started. Kyle, what was it like? I know me and you talked, a couple weeks, before your first start. You finally got your first start. You guys are getting ready for Phoenix in a few days. How was it to finally get into a full-time ARCA Menards Series ride?
I ran full-time last year as well, but getting to join the Jan's Racing team was, amazing. Last year, kind of bounced around a little bit last year, but I was thankful for the whole KKM team and Central Coast Racing that helped me last year. And then at the end of the year, teaming up with Jan's Racing, and then got the call from Jan at the end of the year after Phoenix to run full-time for him. So it was pretty cool. And like you said, finishing second at Kern was a good start for this year. So just super excited for Phoenix to see how we can compete with all those back east guys. And I think we'll be good. And Jan brings really good cars to the racetrack, and the whole Jan's Racing team is just really awesome to work with.
So throughout your career, you raced, late models and, different cars. Last year you did the test out at Daytona. You made an attempt to make a road course start. So I mean, it's not like you're new to racing. You bounced around. You've been around. What's the biggest difference, in driving these ARCA cars to, all the other cars, that you've raced and that you've won in?
Yeah, late models are, super light, and the late models that we run now are just a 602 crate, so they have no horsepower, only 350 horsepower, compared to the ARCA cars, which have, almost 650 horsepower, right? And the ARCA cars are 3,400 pounds, super heavy, super top heavy, so you just got to be very cautious, especially when you go to Phoenix. You have to be careful on how you make your entry into the corner underneath people, because the arrow, and you don't fight that with all the late model stuff. You can kind of send it on in there, and you don't have to worry about anything. So that's the only thing I really feel different. But the competition, I feel like, is a lot tougher in the ARCA Menard series compared to the late model world, and it's just super super fun to race with all the ARCA drivers.
And actually, you're one of the few teams, that have you're gonna have a teammate, which is also a good friend of yours. You guys grew up together, raced together, and what's it gonna be like? You had Robbie the first race at Kern. Now you're going to a bigger track, which is the 1 mile at Phoenix. How do you help a younger driver, as you're still progressing yourself?
It goes both ways. Having a teammate is great. You can get out of the car, in between practice, and talk to them and see what their car is doing. Maybe it can help critique me. I've been to Phoenix couple times now, and he's only made one full start there at Phoenix. So he could definitely learn off of me when we get there. But that car is already raced at Phoenix. The one he's racing, the one I raced, it raced with Rip. So it's a new car for me, and of course it's a new car for him still too for Phoenix. So he could go out there and be way faster than me, and I'm gonna have to get out and try to learn from him, right? So it's just depends on who gets out there faster and feels the track. But being the only couple teams to have a teammate is great because you could just bounce ideas off of each other, and you definitely get a head start on the teams that only have one driver. So the one driver is trying to chase a bunch of other things, where we have two different crew chiefs and two different drivers, so we could try different setups and see which one works better, and then we can capitalize in the race with each other.
So I also noticed, that you spend a lot of time in the shop, around the cars and all that. Um, throughout the years past, when you talk about KKM, you're talking about Kyle Keller, Motorsports, which is, your own motorsports team. Um, now that you moved up into a bigger series, more competition, do you feel that you know, I guess I'm trying to say is the importance of spending, all that time at the shop, not only to work on the car, but just, get to be around, the guys are going to be out there with you, on race day, to get to build that kind of like, I guess that kind of like family atmosphere.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's definitely way better being able to go to the shop, learn the guys, work with the guys, just make them like their family, right? Just not showing up to the racetrack and just getting in the seat. The teams like to have that interaction and that family bond with the driver. They don't want to just see the driver show up and just get in the car. They rather see him, I feel like, work on the car and try to learn all of that because it's easier for them too, right? Me going to the shop and learning the stuff on the car, changing stuff on the car. It's easier for my crew chief Brian. I can tell him, hey, I think this we could try this, or let's try this. It's easier for him than saying, hey, I think my car's tight, and then he has to just try to figure out what to change, right? So getting that family connection with the whole team and working with them throughout the entire week plus the weekend, I just think it's really good, and at the long run, it can definitely help you win the championship.
You know what? And it seems like you guys got off on your team got off on a good start. With the finishes you had at Kern, which is the first race. Then once you get out of Phoenix, then it's kind of like back to the ARCA West, teams. Instead of having all these other teams, that send their drivers out there to get experience not only on on the 1 mile track of Phoenix, but they're also trying to look for that extra seat time to get that edge, whether it be a truck driver, an Xfinity driver, or a Cup driver.
Yeah, definitely. All seat time is perfect, and trying to get in anything possible is definitely the way to go. Even if it's, like a late model. After I run Phoenix with Jan this weekend, I'll be running his pro late at Kern, just trying to get as much seat time as possible and just staying in the seat and staying consistent.
So back to that race at Curry, you and Trevor had a pretty good battle going on there for the better part of the race. Um, you had a chance to kind of rough them up a little bit, towards the end, when the 5 car, stayed at the bottom, instead, you chose to race them clean, and, take the finish that you had. Um, that could have gone both ways. It could have gone good that you could have gotten the win, but it could have gone bad. You could have hit him and taken you out at the same time, or it could have been even worse that you could have hit him and race control would have sent you to the back and let him keep his position.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was definitely. And I don't think the smart thing was to go in there and just try to rough them up. That's just going to ruin my name more into the NASCAR world, and I'm not going to get anywhere if I just go and just wreck people. I've never led a lap in ARCA. I've never won, of course, and for me to rough someone up to get that first win or lead that first lap is just not the way to go. If I could have passed him clean, I would have had. I still have his respect by racing him clean there and just not dirtying him up, but driving by him on the inside without even touching him would gain a lot of people's respect, and I think that's the way that it needed to be. But it just wasn't our night, right? We caught him. We probably shouldn't have been that far back in the beginning and had to chase him. I should have just probably been in front of him, right? But um, it was definitely a good learning experience. For me being up there, I've never even started on the front row in ARCA, so it was such a really cool experience to be able to run up front, and that whole Jan's Racing team just gave me a really good hot rod. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't even been up there for the win. So like I said, just no rough driving is just it's never been me. So hopefully we can go to Phoenix and just take the lead and win by a lot, and we don't even have to worry about trying to rough somebody up to get that win.
Yeah, it's a very good attitude to have. Always a great attitude. And with that, Kyle, I know Sharon, the show host, I know she has some questions for you too.
Kyle, again, welcome to the show. I'm really proud of you. That comments that you just made make me feel really good about you as a driver, because I think that is one of the things that a lot of young drivers coming into the sport sometimes struggle with. They're anxious to get that first win, and it takes a lot of patience to be able to be that reserved and not go after that wreck to get the win. So kudos to you for that. Coming up to Phoenix, have you raced at Phoenix before?
Yeah, I made about 4 starts. I think this would be my 5th start at
Good
Phoenix.
start. I know you've raced in the ARCA Menards series before, the ARCA West. Do you have any plans to race in the ARCA East at all, or the ARCA? I know there's some combination ARCA Menards series events, but a standalone ARCA Menards event.
Yeah, I mean, it could possibly happen, right? I mean, it kind of all depends on Jan, right? And what Jan wants to do, I know we possibly have plans on possibly maybe doing Daytona next year in the beginning of the year, but right now it's just talks and seeing what we could do. But right now we're focused on the West Championship and going out there and trying to lock that championship for the owners and the drivers. So that'd be pretty cool. And having Robbie as a teammate, if we can finish 1-2, that'd be awesome. And maybe we can possibly go back east next year and see if we can say we win the championship this year in the West. We go back east and try to win the championship there. So I'm 20 years old, so I can go run the national track. So if we can get some good hot rods and go back east and and run the national series at like Daytona and Talladega and stuff like that, and see if we can go capitalize there, that's definitely the main goal. But right now, I think we're mainly focused with the West Coast.
Oh, okay, and I think that's great. I think that's awesome. Now, you said you've raced 4 times at Phoenix. Looking at the schedule, you've raced at Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway before, I know that. Are there any other tracks besides those 2 tracks that you're looking forward to or you have circled on your calendar?
Yeah, I definitely have Colorado circled on my calendar. I've never been there before. Out of all the tracks that we're going to this year, I've never even seen what it looks like, to be honest. And my main thing, my main track is definitely Vegas. I was born and raised in Las Vegas. Won the championship at the Bull Ring in the junior late models. I've had a couple dozen wins in the pro late models there. So I have a lot of seat time around the Bull Ring every time I go there. If it's with our own team or with Jerry Pitts or anybody, I can finished in the top 5 pretty decently, so I think we have a really good shot at winning that race. But I got a couple tracks circled, but I think the whole year is going to be a really cool tracks to go to.
I think so too. What are the tracks that you have raced at before that are on the schedule?
I've raced at all of them besides Colorado. Tucson, I've only raced a couple times. So Tucson's kind of really new to me too. I've only raced maybe twice there in a super late model, but other than that, I've raced everywhere else a couple times. But Colorado is going to be a brand new track.
Oh, okay, so that's the only brand new track, and I've been to the Bull Ring at Las Vegas. I really like that track, so I'll be definitely watching you there. That's your hometown track, right?
Yeah, yep. Las Vegas is where I was born.
Oh, okay, so that's fantastic. Do you get a chance to talk to any of the other Las Vegas natives that are racing in NASCAR? Riley Herbst or Kyle Busch or Kurt?
Yeah, so growing up,
Noah Gragson?
I used to hang out with my dad and my grandpa at the tracks, and my grandpa actually used to build, because my grandpa is an engine builder and so is my dad. And my grandpa actually used to build motors for Kurt Busch and Kyle Busch when they raced in the super late models back in the Bull Ring. And my crew chief Brian is actually really, really good friends with Kurt Busch. We're not really as close with Kyle, but Kurt I can really talk to, and he gave me pointers when I went to go try to make my debut start at Watkins Glen. And I actually got to talk to him for about 20-25 minutes to, get some type of tricks to, get it. Unfortunately, we didn't make the race, but we still had a really good run. And then for Noah Graxton, I talked to Noah. Every time I see him in person, we're able to sit there and just chat for 20 minutes and talk. But I never really got a connection with like Riley Herbst and anybody else. But Kurt and Noah are pretty close.
Okay, of the NASCAR drivers that are currently running, who do you look up to? Who's the driver that you want to emulate yourself after?
I'm really close in watching Ryan Blaney lately. I feel like he's just really good with his fans. I'm really paying attention. I felt like he was really one of the first drivers to ever, get out of the car and give his flag to the fans, and he made sure he pointed at what fan he wanted to give it to. A lot of the drivers, they just, put the flag through the fence and one random kid gets it, but he looks through the stands and picks a driver that he thinks would want it the most, right? And I just feel
Mhm.
like he's really good with his fans. Like one time at Phoenix, I stopped and literally talked to him for 30 minutes when he was supposed to be going out to qualify. So he's just a really cool guy, and he's a fan guy. He loves talking to kids and just hanging out, and I feel like that's what I need to be able to gain fans, and of course to be able to get to the NASCAR world, and you have to have a big following, and you got to do all that.
Well, I think you've picked a really good driver there to emulate yourself after. I had another question. I can't think of it. So I'm going to go back to Sal for a minute while I try to think of what that question was. Thanks, Kyle, for answering those questions.
Yep.
So with the upcoming schedule, there's of course, you have all the prep, that goes on, at the shop, for each race. Um, at least this year, you know what, they're not cramming. Well, yeah, they're not really cramming like they did last year. They did the Portland and I think it was Portland and Tri Cities. They did them back to back, and it was kind of tough, on the travel, then especially with them being two road courses. So with Sonoma coming up, and of course in the summer, they run the Cup cars with you. How much are you looking forward to running in Sonoma and the road course also in Portland?
I'm really excited for those races. After this weekend at Phoenix, we're definitely going to start prepping our cars and getting them ready for the road course. Maybe we go get some testing in before then, but um, those are also two other tracks that I have circled on my calendar because those two tracks are definitely the tracks that you have to make sure that you finish for points, right? Because you have a lot of the people show up, especially for Sonoma. You'll have some Cup drivers jump down or Xfinity drivers jump down and race against us. And if you can capitalize on that and be able to finish in front of them, right, and your championship contenders are behind them, it's just a really good race to try to pick up points. I finished in the top 10 both times last year and gained over 20 points by the end of those two races. So it's just those races you got to make sure you capitalize on it, stay on the track, and just make sure that you're good and can't fall off course. That's the main thing I've always worried about is falling off the course. You just got to make sure you stay on the asphalt and just wait for all the other people to, fall out.
And it's kind of like the same way with Phoenix, because you have a lot of, you got the East drivers, you have the national drivers, coming out, they're just doing, basically, the one-off. Before, we had the combination race at Iowa, which they cut out, in the last, few years, which was always a good race, because they ran Xfinity the same weekend, and they'd run the combination East-West, and I brought out a lot of cars. But I guess this weekend is going to be a big weekend for Jan's racing because of the fact that you're going to have other cars, besides just the West Series. I think I read so far they have like 30 entries that are going to be out there.
Yeah, I got the email this afternoon, and there was 34 cars for this weekend race.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a big field. A lot of points. You know what, up for grabs, and I think you and Robbie are ready. You guys are up for the challenge. I know you guys have put a lot of time in the shop. You guys put a lot of time in, in your programs. And like you mentioned earlier, you put a lot of time, with the team, especially, with Brian, and getting to know, what Brian's doing and what he wants. I talked to Brian a little bit this weekend in Vegas, and he's excited for the whole season.
Oh yeah, definitely. We've been clicking for the last couple years, and now that we feel like we definitely have some good hot rods after Kern. We're super excited for Phoenix. See what we got.
Yeah, Jen's putting together a really good he's putting together a really good program for you guys. He's giving you guys what you need to to compete. More. He's giving you guys what you guys need to win. So it's basically just up to what you guys to do out on the track. Once you're buckled in, then it's all up to you and Robbie, what you guys are going to do, what the equipment that's given you, and get out there, and give it your all, give it your best.
I thought of
But
my
with that, I'm going to turn
question,
it back
Sam.
over to Sharon because
Yeah,
I know
I
she's
thought
got
of
a
my
question
question.
already.
I
And
do.
I
I
know
do.
she can't wait. And if I keep talking, she's going to forget it again.
I'm going to bite at the bit here. Okay, Kyle, you've raced at Phoenix before, and we're going to be previewing Phoenix coming up here. I might be able to get a bite here that I could use for our preview coming up. So for fans that are going to be watching Phoenix this weekend in the ARCA Menards and ARCA Menards Series West combination race, what should fans watch for at Phoenix?
The fans definitely have to watch for the restarts, right? I mean, you know how it is with the dog leg. It's just going to be just like how Coda was this weekend, right? Everybody goes into turn one, they spread out, they're 4 or 5 wide, right? That's how it is at Phoenix. We barely even get to the start finish line, and my spotter's telling me inside you're in the middle, right? So it's definitely an action packed race, and it doesn't matter that it's lap one. You got to try to pick off cars as fast as you can because track position is crazy at Phoenix. So that's definitely what I would watch out for, right? And then just watch out for the all the lead lap cars trying to get by all the lap cars, right? Because there's always a few cars out there that I wouldn't say necessarily that they're so far off the pace, right? But they just don't have the technology as some of the cars out there, right? So they're just trying to go there as much as they can and try to finish as good as they can, right? And like I said, it's crazy because if the leaders are side by side, they both hit the dog leg and split the lap car in the middle, right? So it's always a hectic race. And but the main thing to watch, like I said, is going to be definitely the dog leg. And at Phoenix with the ARCA series, there's always a green white checkered. I mean, hopefully there's not this year, right? But there's always a green white checkered, and it's always hectic there at the end.
And that goes back to the restarts.
Yeah.
Okay, for you personally, since you've raced there 4 times, what are your goals there this weekend? I know you want to win, but do you have some specific things that you're working on at Phoenix and that track?
Yeah, I mean, 2 races ago at Phoenix, I finished in the top 5 with Jerry Pitts, and it was really cool experience. I mean, I think that race there was 4 out of the 5 cars in the top 5 were all West drivers, so it was pretty cool to finish in the top 5 that race. My main goal, of course, is to win this weekend, right? But if I can go out there and qualify in the top 5, run in the top 5, lead a couple laps, hopefully, just be up there with the front runners and get Jan's car as much as I can on TV as possible, right? We're on FS1 this weekend, so that's definitely cool. I feel like we'll have a lot more viewers being on FS1 and being on national television. So I think that would be the coolest thing. My main thing, of course, is just bring hope in one piece. I got 150 laps, right? It's not 75 or anything like that. So I got 150 miles to get it done, and just got to be cautious and be there at the end. But if I can run up front and be with all those front guys, that'd be the way to go.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kyle, if you win this weekend, we'd like for you to come back and share your experience with us.
Oh, definitely. I would love to come back.
Okay, well, and I've got one more question for you. We're going to be doing Hot Topics live at 9:00 tonight. Do you watch the national series, and would you be interested in being our guest on Hot Topics tonight?
Is that tonight or is that just?
It is tonight. It would be 10:00 your time.
I don't know if I'll be able to make it tonight. I have somewhere I have
Okay.
to be after this, but maybe the next one I'll definitely try to make it.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind. our goal this year is to try to bring one guest on with Jay and myself as we discuss some of the hottest topics in NASCAR. It's our Hot Topic Sound Off. So I like what I'm seeing from you. I think you'd be a great guest to have on that show.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll
Yeah,
keep you
so
in mind.
somebody has to take my spot because I think I was banned.
No,
They say
you're
I'm a
not
bad boy.
banned.
I don't. They say I don't play by the rules.
Sal, you want to be on tonight?
I can. You know what, Sharon? I'd love to, but
No.
I've been
See,
gone all
that's
these
what
weekends.
happens, Kyle.
I
Here's the truth right
I gotta
here.
take my wife out to dinner. I was in Vegas. I was in Vegas having fun this weekend.
Okay, well, I'm glad you had a good time at Vegas. And Kyle, I really hope you have a really good time next week, this coming weekend, out at Phoenix Raceway. That race is on Thursday?
Friday at
It is
6
Friday,
p.m.
okay.
Mountain. Yeah.
Okay, 8 p.m. Mountain Time. I've got it here if I take a
8 p.m.
look
I
at
think
it.
it's 8 p.m. Eastern time, I believe.
Oh, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. So that's great. I will be watching. Again, it's on FS1, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So this is a race you don't want to miss with Kyle Keller. He finished runner-up to Trevor Huddleston at Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway. And I know he wants to do one position better, but at least a top 5 at Phoenix. So we'll be watching, Kyle, and we wish you the very best. Are you on social media?
Yeah, Kyle_Keller12 on Instagram, and then just Kyle Keller on Facebook, and then the same thing on X at Kyle_Keller12.
Okay, so give Kyle a follow. I'm going to go look you up on those on Facebook and Twitter and see if I can give you a follow as well. And Kyle, I want to say thank you for taking time to be here tonight. We really do appreciate it. And we really enjoy the conversation with you here tonight. Sal, any parting words for Kyle?
Yeah, just good luck out there this weekend once again, and hopefully, you and Robbie can pick up a couple more good finishes, and keep season keep the season strong, and the main thing is is be safe out there, and grab as many points as you can. It's a long, short season, as you know. Championship is this year's up for grabs.
Yep, definitely. Thank you, guys.
Okay. What about you? Do you want to do a shout out for your sponsors, Kyle, before we go?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Jan Quackenbush and the whole Jan's Racing team. Jan's Racing, Argus Construction, Battleborn Racing, Swift Springs, Driven Sunglasses. Just everyone that supports me and helps me get out there on the racetrack. Just thank you to my whole team: Brian, BC, my dad, Robbie, Harley, Aiden, Dom and Chase. Just everybody that makes it possible. Prado and Marco, they all work super hard on the team and, help us get on the racetrack and see if we can get out there. And thank you, Jason Lawton for being in my ear, making sure I'm safe on the racetrack and, making sure I'm clear. So just everybody is a big part of this whole organization. And if I win, it's just not me winning, it's the whole team winning. So it's super exciting to have everybody behind me.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again somewhere down the road. I know Sal will see you before I do, but I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely.
All right.
Thanks again, Kyle, for coming on.
Thank you.
Take care now.